you're a trans person and all you see and hear online and in the media is negative opinions, maybe you haven't even told anyone yet who you are, but you're too afraid because of all the noise. Maybe follow me. I've had the pleasure of seeing how wonderful your life could be. You are supported, respected, and accepted. And that's what I'm going to show you.
What do you mean follow you? What do you mean follow you? It's not your story to tell. It's your child's story. Like, I feel as soon as he posted that, he must have had a slight inkling that people are going to have a bit of a bee in their bonnet, because we all know that Sacconejoly loves to exploit the fact that they have a trans child. That poor child has been followed around by a camera since the day they were born, and the absolute moment that Jonathan and Anna saw dollar signs, saw pound signs, whoever, whatever, that was it. They lunged onto that, and they've been doing this for, I think, nearly about 2 years now. They have been exploiting that child's every whereabouts. The amount of times I have heard him tell this story is mind-boggling. Leave that child alone, leave them alone, let them live a peaceful existence without being plastered all on the internet. That TikTok really did, it got a bee in my absolute bonnet, it did. Because the thing is that he's like, well, if someone wants a safe place, come join us. It's not you. You are nothing to do with this, Jonathan. The only part of this you have to play is the fact that you have a social media account, which you use to exploit your own children. These are the very first people. So if you're kind of unaware of why I am in a bit of a tailspin about this, Sacconejoly were pretty much the very first people I ever started doing commentary on. I followed them for a very long time. If you're new here, followed them for a very long time. I have got an extensive playlist on them. So please go and have a little watch. I've noticed some new viewers coming on and saying, can you cover Sacconejoly's? Go and look on that playlist. There's I think that loads, like a pretty embarrassingly large amount of videos done on them, but for very good reason. Okay, I watched them for a long time prior to them just becoming exploitative beeps. And then the more you know, the more you realise they've always been like that. They've had so many situations whereby it's just been nasty. It's just been horrible. And they use their kids for content. It's only up until recently, actually. Sacconejoly has started doing this thing where he calls his eldest child a teenager, tags her as a teenager, titles her as a teenager in all of his things. And guess how old she is? She's like 10. She's nowhere near being a teenager. And it riles me up. He knows exactly what he's doing, and if you don't think he knows exactly what he's doing, he has been told.
In your heart of hearts, if it became apparent that a sexual predator had been looking at your children, for example?
It's such an odd question, because how would you, like, I don't know how you'd feel. Like, obviously is it a terrible thing? It's like,
but of course Sacconejoly cannot help himself. He cannot stop himself from seeing those pound coins come rolling in, and this is the kind of content that he posts regardless of what he's been told. Now, the reason why I bring all of this up, and I actually showed that TikTok, which is his latest one, I showed it because there was a series of Instagram stories that he did where he basically was turning around and saying that he is freeing his social media of any negativity, i.e. anyone that disagrees with him. I will say that there are, obviously they do get some hate-filled comment, not talking about people questioning things. I'm just saying there are, whether or not you want to admit it or not. I've seen a couple quite nasty comments and I'm a bit like, ooh, a child shouldn't be reading that, because of course we all know that Jonathan and Anna actually let their children read the comments. The thing that's now going on is Jonathan is now deciding that he wants to basically block anyone that doesn't agree with him, doesn't agree with whatever. And I kind of thought, I was like, well, maybe he's trying to clear it up so that when the kids inevitably read it, they're not going to be really upset. But no. I just saw that TikTok, and in the TikTok, to me, what it sounds like he's saying is, hey, if you feel like my child, then you should come on in, because I'm going to be making content. This isn't what he said, but like, I'm going to be making content centered around this topic. It basically means that I'm going to be following my child around and making compilation videos of her and then uploading it. And she doesn't really have anything to say about it because she's extremely young. And the whole thing is just absolutely mind-boggling. So we're going to be reading through some of those Instagram stories.
Because my child needed help. She needed support and she needed to be seen. If you're a trans person and all you see and hear online is negative opinions about you, you're too afraid because of all the noise, then maybe follow me. I've had the pleasure of seeing how wonderful your life could be.
So in no particular order, because my photos are all jumbled up, he posted, I just want to clarify something as I've seen comments about this. Yes, I started a zero tolerance policy on all my social media. So if you say something I don't like, even if you think it is not hate, I will block you from viewing my content. Put it this way, if someone came into your house and started picking your life apart and making rude comments, would you continue to allow them to stay, or would you ask them to leave and lock the door? The thing is, Jonathan, is that you're on social media, right, mate? And pretty much you have a very small percentage of people who have stood by you guys, you and Anna, this whole entire time and agree with everything you've done, a very small percentage. You then have other people who don't seem to see an issue with the fact that you heavily exploit this one child to the point where I really do think that they are going to grow up and have severe issues because of the level of exploitation you have given them over something that is an extremely sensitive topic to somebody. These are not just my feelings and my thoughts, they are echoed across. There have been people within the actual trans community who I've had conversations with on videos who have turned around and said this is diabolical, this child's life like that should not be broadcasted. There are people who are coming on and telling you that it's not good. You are choosing not to listen. You are choosing not to listen. And if you want to create an echo chamber, then so be it. But your kid's mental health, and I say this in the hope that it does not happen, but your kid's mental health could be put in mass jeopardy because of the amount of exposure you have given her concerning this whole take. And the interesting thing is that this then links back to the TikTok that I just shared, where Jonathan is now saying, okay, come on, guys. Come on, if you want to have a trans representative, then come on in here. Here's my 8-year-old. That's what you're doing. And you've basically blocked out anyone who will now stand up to you and say, hey, this isn't right. Is this the reason why you stopped posting as much on YouTube? Because you know that you can make an absolute fortune off of exploiting her even further by basically turning your whole entire TikTok presence into having a trans child. Is that the reason why? He then writes, if you are seeing this and you're on the approved list, I've blocked over 10k accounts in the last week. And then he's basically saying that if you even like a comment I disagree with, I'm going to get rid of you. This is awful. Like, you can't run a business like this. And whether you think it is or not, this is a business for them. Social media is a business for them. They make a lot of money off of doing social media. I believe they actually make quite a lot of money even doing their TikToks, especially as he now has, like, is it 2 point something million, 3 million? I think that whoever the hell is subscribed to Jonathan Joly to follow along to a child's journey who cannot give informed consent on this and basically had a camera shoved in their face since they were born, anyone who is a part of that, nah. I feel like quite a lot of people who are still following along will either have a child that is trans themselves or even an adult. You could be an adult. You could be watching because you are, wanting to transition yourself. But the problem is that you're putting all of this pressure onto a little child. And I just don't think it is right to have this documented. Jonathan Joly went through this whole entire phase of telling us all about his childhood and telling us, well, I just didn't feel myself and no one understood me. And, I kept away from everyone and I was really ashamed or whatever of who I was. How would you have liked it if a camera was shoved in your face? He wouldn't have liked that, but he has no issue doing it to his children. You have to remember, if you took away his children, him and Anna would have absolutely no money. You have to think of it like that, because whenever they have tried to come back and do just them two vlogging, the views tank because no one really cares. And it's always been like that. It's not just recently, it's always been like that. They have no personality online, no personality, no stage presence without their own children. That is my opinion, and that is the opinion of a lot of other people. If you took away their children, okay, and they weren't allowed to show their children online, they would make nowhere near as much money, if any money at all. I'm not joking. And it does greatly infuriate me how Jonathan is now deciding to set up a little echo chamber and block anyone out who's going to have anything to say about it. I mean, I was blocked a long time ago. I was blocked a couple years ago. So that he can then basically start afresh and make, in my eyes, it feels like he's basically saying, hey, yeah, come join us because we're going to be creating more content about my trans child. If it's your story and you want to tell it, that's perfectly fine. You're in your right to do so, but not a child, not a minor. Stop telling stories that are not yours. They can't consent to it. They may not want this being put on the internet when they get older. It's such a deeply sensitive topic. And Jonathan, he's never going to get it. But that doesn't mean that we all can't stop talking about it, okay? Just because we know that he's never going to get it until hopefully the UK brings in some sort of legislation, we can't exploit our children in this manner. And I'm hoping that day will come, because that is the only way that this man will get his kids off the internet.
To men, but then I don't feel like I'm all these things over here and all these things over there. So the first step on my journey of understanding who I am was to unbox all of my childhood trauma that had been locked inside my head for nearly 40 years. This is the result of my midlife crisis. I came out of it with a beard. Oh, and tattoos. Well, I already kind of had tattoos.
There was also this absolute gem where basically they're saying, well, me and Anna deserve it because we've put the kids first for the next 10 years, so now our journey of self-improvement has begun. I feel like I don't even need to comment on this. Putting your kids first for the very first 10 years. Who the hell has paid for your wealth and your luxuries in the past 10 years? Who would that be? Your own children. Your children are cash cows. Your children have given you the best 10 years, and not just because they're around. No. It's because they've literally given you wealth beyond your wildest dreams for a little while, because they've literally earned all of your money. What the hell would Jonathan and Anna do without their children? What do you mean putting your kids first? Don't even freaking start. Another thing as well is that they basically went on this whole entire self-improvement journey where Jonathan went and got his second hair transplant, which, yes, I have seen the messages. I do think that something's a little bit cagey about the fact that he won't disclose how much this thing is, and he kept on tagging the place where he got it done. I don't really understand how that would work in terms of advertising, but I do think something sneaky suspicious is going on there. Combined with Anna's mummy makeover that was supposed to be about her diastasis recti, but then ever since she got it, she doesn't mention it. So it's all a lot of people reckon that wasn't even really the issue, and that actually she just wanted to get it for herself, which fair play, you can do whatever you want. I know that a lot of people have differing opinions on that, but that's not what this is about. But basically, Jonathan tried doing this whole self-improvement journey where he then started documenting his hair transplant, and guess what? The views tanked because nobody cares. People cared about Anna Saccone's because there's literally the thumbnail of her virtually naked, which I it's a good thumbnail in the sense that people will actually click on it, but it's also if you want if you want to look at her, then I suppose people would then click on it as well. Do you see what I mean? So hers did a little bit better, but let's be real, if you're not talking about Anna's boobs and you're not talking about your kids, the views are just not really going to go anywhere. So after all that has now just been said, I'm firmly a part. I've put the wood on the fire. I'm a part of this camp where I think that TikTok was basically a signal from him to say that this is what his TikTok's going to become, basically just about his transgender daughter and how she is navigating through life, even though it is quite literally nothing to do with him. But he will capitalise on this. Oh, yes, he will.
You're so beautiful, but you don't trade on your looks. But you totally should. Okay? OnlyFans, mate. We will be millions.
Well, that's pretty much all I've got to say about this topic. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all subscribe and stick around. And yeah, have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And I will catch up with you guys in the next video.